Welcome into this bonus episode of Six Rotations. Daniel Gilman, Mick Haley per usual. And as you can see, we have a third face starting off our Libero specific episode. It's Nalani Iosia from Texas, the number one team in the nation. Just a few hours removed from a big win over Rice last night. Nalani, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you because we really wanted to put together something for the fans that was a midweek, unique little twist. It's conference play starting up. And although, the line sheets may say freshman, you've got a season under your belt. You've played in the Big 12. Things are a little different in the Big 12, though, right? You guys are sticking with that hockey-style schedule, the same team back-to-back, West Virginia this weekend. With non-conference play over, does it feel like a new season is starting? Because the teams, you can't quite say they're up to the same snuff as you guys had in non-conference.
Yeah, I think definitely with this preseason being so long, this is my first preseason personally. So I think it just makes this whole season even longer. But I think it just sets us up to have good competitive play from the start, and then getting into conference, just focusing on the little things to go into the NCAA tournament. So I think it's a pretty good setup. The back-to-back games can be kind of tough, but having last season under our belt with having those conference plays during COVID definitely puts us at an advantage for this conference play.
So because of this, Libero specific episode, we're going to ask a couple questions specifically about the position, because Mick and I both feel we are in a bit of a golden age of liberos. It's really, something special's brewing around the country. When you see other teams either in tape or watching online, when you watch the liberos play, do you feel like there's any level of difference than when you were younger, kind of watching volleyball?
Yes, the game is definitely 10 times faster. And I learned that real quickly once I stepped into this gym, especially during practice. The tempos are faster, the balls are coming at you faster. It was really hard to get used to at first. But then once I started playing more in conference and then getting to the tournament, that's when it was just a whole different level of play. And I think with that experience, it's just helped me gain the confidence playing more now than I did last year.
And Mick, obviously you watch a lot of Texas volleyball. When's the first time you laid eyes on Iosia?
Well, actually, I lived in Hermosa Beach, so big Maricosta Redondo rivalry was always fun to go and watch, and I'd go and watch both of them. So I got to see her just as a pup growing up and going through the chain, and she played in some pretty awesome matches in that rivalry. So it's been fun to see her come into her own. And as a libero, I was not sure she wasn't going to play another position rather than that position.
Go ahead, fire away with some questions then.
Well, I've got a couple of good ones. Against Rice, I thought your rhythm was so good as a team in all aspects. What changed all of a sudden? That was as free as I've seen you guys play.
Yeah, I think with the history, having lost them for the past, kind of up and down, but I think that really motivated us this time to just play together as a team. And just leading up into this game, our practices have been very consistent. We've just been very fired up for this game in particular.
And how good was Lennon?
Lennon for the outside? She was coming out of nowhere. Her back row attacks, her front row attacks, she was swinging away. She was really caring.
So if you compare all the hitters you've played against here last year and this year, who are the heaviest hitters? When you dig a ball, some balls just come right off your arms and they go up and it feels so good. Then there's other people that just numb your arms. They don't hit with as much spin. Who are those heavy hitters?
Definitely Yasiana Presley.
Oh, you're the second one to say that.
Every time she gets up there, I am actually shaking. But then once you dig it feels like you're on top of the world. It's okay, wow, I can conquer anything. She's definitely up there for one of my numbing passes. And then I'd probably say playing Stanford for the first time, Kendall Kipp, she has a very heavy arm as well. One of her digs literally blew me backwards. I fell to my knees. And I think hers was very strong as well. And then I think those are just the.
How about does Coach Elliott put you on the opposite side with Logan?
With our players included?
Well, sure, you got to include the Texas players.
Breon Butler,
Yeah.
She's definitely up there. Logan and Skylar. Wow, Logan's ball. If you get hit anywhere but your arms, your body's numb. Like, like that one will actually blow you away. When I see people get hit in the face with her hits, I feel so bad because I will get hit on my leg and my leg is numb. So I don't know how they can handle that. And then Bree, she's just, wow, like her force, she is so strong. She hits it so fast. If you're not ready for her hit, yeah, good luck with that one.
Against Rice, she almost picked some people off, didn't she? That was scary.
Really striking fear into them because I know how that feels during practice. So I don't know how I'd be able to do that during a game.
So a question
Yeah.
I get a lot too from casual volleyball fans is just what's the biggest difference between just the DS and being libero? And obviously last year behind Morgan, and now you've got that jersey. Tactically and mentally, what are the biggest differences?
I think mentally the big thing for me was just staying focused in every play in and play out. When I was DS, I would just come in for 3 rotations, then get like a breather. Then for libero, you're in the whole time. You're like one of the leaders on the court as well. So you get no type of breathers until you go out for the middle to serve. And that's like a 2-second break at most. And then you come back in and it's just like on go mode. It was really hard for me to like flip that switch and have it on the whole game. But I think having some experience last year, I was able to get a little feel for it and just work towards it during the summer and then during the fall. Definitely preseason helped a lot with all of our opponents, Minnesota, Stanford, all of those games have helped me to stay locked in mentally. And I think it's just been getting better each game in and game out.
And then here, a fun one. You really put the test to why broadcasters need to look at pronunciation guides, right? So what are some of the wildest and wackiest name pronunciations you've gotten in the last few years or months?
Sometimes when they're calling out our names, I don't think they like see it until they see it when they announce it. So they will say my first name and then they'll pause. And then the wackiest one I've got is probably like Iosia or Iosha or Iosia. They like say it with like a question mark. And I'm just like, you could have asked me before the game. Like, I know it's hard once you look at it and then you have to come up with your best guess because no one has ever guessed Iosia because it's kind of not like clear. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Nalani Iosia. From Texas up to Madison, as we are joined by Lauren Barnes, the libero for the number 2 team in the country, the Wisconsin Badgers. Lauren, getting ready for conference play. How's everything feeling around the team?
It's feeling really good. There's a lot of high energy going into practices, which is awesome. There's a really good mentality on our team right now. Everybody's going in, approaching practice, ready to improve. We all know we have a lot of things to get better on before we can reach our goals, and it's been really exciting.
It's been a while since you guys have had non-conference action. What was it like to get out there and play Baylor and face Kentucky and constantly be challenged out of the conference?
Yeah, it was awesome. It's been great so far. It was a little weird last year. Like you said, we only played conference and we didn't see any non-conference teams until we got to the tournament. And even then, you didn't get to pick who you played. Not that we get to pick, but the coaches scheduled. So it's kind of fun to see who you get to play and what weekend, what day, rather than just kind of who's going to win the next game. That's who you're going to play. So it was a lot of fun. It was awesome. We had some great opponents on the other side of the net. And I think it's really prepared us well for this Big Ten season.
The Badgers have Maryland on the road Friday and then Rutgers on the road Saturday. You've been around the block here in the Big Ten. Do you prefer the back-to-backs like we had in the spring with the same team or the way it was before and is now with 2 different teams?
Honestly, I don't know if I have a preference. The back-to-back was definitely fun because you got to see against one team. You got to see what you need to improve on that night. You got to play them. Then you got to try to make those exact improvements against the same exact team the next night, which is awesome. It's a little different when you play different teams back to back because the teams are going to come at you differently. They're going to defend you differently. They're going to play against you offensively differently. So, but it was definitely a fun little challenge to see what we can improve on from night to night. But now it's kind of just back to normal, I guess what you could say. But it's you got to prepare for 2 teams and be ready for it. Give them your best.
Lauren, I have a couple quick questions that are kind of interesting. So when I played, I was a setter, but they used me internationally in the back row a lot. And there were some people that hit at me that just numbed my arms. And then some that you just pop up and you want to yawn and pretend like you're reading the paper, right? So tell me, who hits the ball hard? Who's the hardest hitters you had to try to dig so far?
So far, honestly, some of them are in our own practice gym.
I'll bet.
A lot of our outsides have a very heavy arm, but opponents-wise, especially against Baylor and Kentucky. Both Skinners, huge heavy arms, which is kind of fun. It was fun to play both of them and just kind of see the differences, but also they have some heavy arms. And Stumler, heavy arm. Then Yasi, you all can see how hard she hits.
She hurt you,
to
huh?
get that ball up, but yeah, I mean, you can tell who has a heavy arm based on how high the ball is going. The harder they hit, it's just bounce off your platform, getting in the air.
Yeah,
But
that
honestly,
was
every
tough.
opponent we've played, they've had some heavy arms, but those four especially.
You play that bro position and you work and you work and you work on serve receive, and then you go in the matches and nobody serves you. What teams throw a curve at you and come out serving you?
There have been a few. Definitely, I think Dayton came out and served me pretty hard, which was kind of fun, different, fun change of pace. It's fun to just know they're coming at you and you could see where they're facing, so you know when it's coming to you right away. There have been some other teams that have throughout the match it's been in waves. It's almost like they're trying to keep you honest. But there have been probably 3 or 4 teams in preseason that have at least tried to hit the seam around me, and it's been fun because once you see where they're facing, you know where they're going. You're like, all right, this ball's mine. Here it is. But it's definitely just a change of pace.
Yeah. Well, the last thing is I know what it's like to go to practice and have 3 or 4 people in your position all vying to be the bro. How do you handle that? I was watching these quarterback battles. It's kind of the same for liberos because you get only so many contacts in practice. There are only so many times you can be in the line of fire and show your stuff. You've got the serve receive drills, and that's an everyday deal that somebody's statting you. What do you tell young players, and you're not old, but there are younger kids trying to get to college and be in your position? What do you tell them? How do they handle that, and how do you handle it, and how does that work?
I would say the number one thing is to just embrace the competition. And I mean that 100%. And all of our DS liberos come into practice ready to compete every single day. And it's in a way where we can make each other better and compete, not in a way where it's, I have to beat her out, I have to beat her out. We're all going in approaching the same way. We help each other out. It's almost like a co-opetition type thing. It's trying to make each other better. You're giving people tips. You're cheering each other on, but at the same time, you all know you're competing, and it really makes the gym fun. But just 100% being able to embrace the competition is really how you go into practice and you allow yourself to improve rather than maybe get inside yourself a little bit.
All right, last question
Daniel,
for you here.
I was
Lauren,
right back to you.
I'm dying to know this because I know a lot of volleyball fans have been wondering this. And obviously the undefeated season last year for Wisconsin in conference play has to feel like, how can we top that, right? What can the encore be this season? But you didn't quite get to play against every team and every top caliber team in that conference. Is that something you guys were evident of? Did you know about it? Are there a couple teams that you've got circled this year that you're very excited to play?
Honestly, we have every single team circled every single weekend of the Big Ten.
The bulletin board answer.
Yeah, especially after last year, though. I mean, might be what everyone says, but we didn't know who we were going to get last year. We didn't even know if we were going to play in a week last year. So now we're just excited to have every team circled, and we're pumped for it, but we're definitely excited to see the teams we haven't seen in 2 years. There's a lot of great competition out there, and we missed some of them last year, but we're excited to get a piece of them this year.
Okay. Is there one road gym that is just like a lethal atmosphere that you are all excited, right? It gets you pumped up to play in?
There's a few, but I would say the top is Nebraska. That one's always fun to go on the road and compete in.
Fantastic. Lauren, thank you so much for joining us. And last but not least, we're joined by the number 3 team in the country represented here, Ohio State, and Kylie Murr, the libero out in Columbus. Kylie, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So watching you kind of grow and progress from a freshman through sophomore year, junior year, and all the COVID and everything like that, it's been so fun, especially with all of the productions that Ohio State's Twitter and videographers get to do, like that Washington video of that fun match in the beginning. How do you feel now after, all of those years kind of growing and, your place with the team?
Yeah, I knew coming into Ohio State that I wanted to leave here making the program better. And I think we're on that right path, and just growing as an individual, as a team, like it's really cool to be a part of that.
Well, a whale of an opening weekend, right? At Purdue on Friday, at Penn State on Sunday. Do you like road trips? Do you prefer to be, kind of bouncing around on the road? Is it fun?
I love being at home and being with all of our fans and the band and just the home support, but I do love going other places and showing people what's up on their home court.
And there's not many louder venues, right, than Holloway and then Rec Hall. How would you kind of rank the road arenas that you've been to, non-conference and conference?
Yeah, I would say obviously Nebraska is one of a kind. It's hard to beat that, but never been to Wisconsin, and I've heard that's next level. So I'm super excited to go there this year. But Purdue itself is one, it's almost a smaller gym, but it's the loudest gym you can get in because it is smaller. So it's always been one of my favorite places to play. And from being from Indiana, it's always kind of feels like home, even though it's not. So yeah, I'm super excited to step into Purdue and play there.
Go ahead, Mick.
Well, I'm interested in a couple of things. Your position is so tough. I've watched you play. I love the way you chase down balls. I love to play like that myself when I could play free like that. But there are basically four skills. You pass, you play defense, you serve, and then the one that everybody forgets about is you have to set the ball a lot, either forearms or what. What is the toughest for you? Let's have a self-evaluation. What's your toughest one that you need to work on, and what are you the best at?
Yeah, I would say my favorite and that maybe I'm the best at is defense. I think that comes very natural, and I'm a very fiery, aggressive person, so I like to get after it on defense. But serving is something I work on every single day. It can always be better. It's not my favorite, but out of system setting has come a long way, and I think it is one of the hardest skills, but one of the most important skills. I think it's really important to, if your setter does get that first ball, to be able to put up a good ball for your pens. And I work on it every single day. It's never going to be perfect, and it's something that I continue to work on and need to work on every single day.
So the forearm or the overhand?
I am preferably a forearm gal. I avoid the hands at all costs. I feel like I have most control with my forearms.
When I coached Natalie Haglund, she would not go overhand at all. She said I could forearm and 360 and be better than I can be overhanded, coach. So I just let her do it.
Yeah.
But she was pretty good. Well, let me ask you another question. When you're playing defense and you got two blockers going, say to your right, do you look under the blocker's hands? How do you get in the angle? Or does your system require you to make various moves depending on who you're playing?
Yeah, I would say my coaches have kind of gave me a free range of just do what you see. I think they trust what I see back there. So I've kind of put a lot on myself when it comes to defense, because they're not like, oh, stand here, because they know that's kind of not how I roll. So specifically, I look at the ball, and then after I know where the ball's going, I look for the hitter, and then I look at the arm and the elbow and kind of see what she's gonna hit it really hard at me, if she's gonna slow it down a little bit. And then last but not least, I kind of look at the block and see what they're giving me, whether if it's closed and a solid block, I'm gonna trust them and I'm gonna stay outside of it. But if not, I might cheat a little bit and get in there in that seam. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. One last question. Just the last one. I've asked this to almost everybody, but who's the hardest hitter? Who's the one that just numbs your arms when you get it under there? Who really brings it? And maybe one that doesn't have as much top spin. Those are the guys that really hurt me.
Specifically on my team, there's Abanya Bukalic. She has a nasty, nasty floater. Like, there is no spin on the ball. It is straight 100 miles per hour serve. But also, I would say Temi on Northwestern, she is one of the hardest players to defend, in my opinion, because she's got a heavy arm, and sometimes it doesn't always spin. And when the hitter's got a nice spin on it, it's almost easier to dig, even if they hit it harder, because it just lays right on your platform. But when it floats and there's not a lot of spin, there's more concentration that you have to put into redirecting the ball, if that makes sense.
I watched that right side from Utah last night.
Where to go where it just kind of hit your platform.
Yeah, I watched that right side from Utah last night, and Washington didn't want anything to do with her. She hit so heavy. Are you looking forward to that?
Oh yeah, I love when a girl brings the heat because that just makes me excited. It makes me so excited. I love when girls get after it because then I can get after it.
Yeah, I'm a big Tammy Thomas Ilara fan, so it's fun to hear that. And it feels like you're a fan of the sport and you watch a lot of volleyball. Does this feel like we're in like a golden age of liberos? Do you know why? Like, what would be your opinion on why you think we're in such like an amazing time for your position?
Yeah, I don't know. There is a lot of good defenders out there, and I love playing against them, and I love honestly learning from them and just watching from them. But I think right now we all kind of just have this mentality of defense wins, and we're kind of taking over. And I really love it because I think defense does win, and I think defenders deserve a lot of credit.
And then lastly here, NCAA Final Four in Columbus. You guys
Oh
can
yeah.
still get your tickets on NCAA.com. Obviously, you want to be one of those 4 teams, but as a fan watching, who are a couple teams that have really stood out to you, cream of the crop?
Yeah, obviously, I'm a little biased, but Ohio State, I hope to see ourselves back there. But Louisville, man, right now they are kind of taking over, and they're a threat, and I think they do a lot of good things, and I'm really excited to see what they do this season. Along with Wisconsin, I think they have every note in the book. I mean, I think they're really good on every single angle. So obviously, really excited to see what they do, and when we get to play against them, and then obviously Texas, they're really good. They got a lot of weapons, so it's going to be interesting though. Like you said, what we talked about earlier, everyone's beating everyone, so I'm really excited to see who comes out in that Final Four this year.
Well, good luck as you start the 10-week war here this weekend.
Thank you so much.
She's Kylie Murr. He's Mick Haley. I'm Daniel Gilman. Thank you so much for watching Six Rotations.